going with a blanket statement about upsetting scenes that might occur, but not giving any specifics as to who it might upset, thereby providing little more information than saying nothing at all.
This is what happens when the wrong people get powers.
The wrong people.
Kids, Agent Barry.
Agent Barry may be the most complex character in this series. He takes Agent Deaver to task on a comment that comes off as racist, and then when he finds out she's talking about kids, he proposes
enhanced rounds
as a solution and has to be told,
I want this kid taken alive.
the sin is not digging further into this man's decision-making process.
Damage control could be at Penn Station, so we're gonna transfer at the next stop and head upstate, okay?
Bruno assumes that in all of the tri-state area, Damage Control has focused its entire search on just one transportation hub. How can he be so sure they won't already be at the next stop and at pretty much every station that leads out of the city? As Bruno and Kamran make their way from car to car on the subway, we can see these two completely different windows have very similar graffiti. So similar, I'm calling someone out for plagiarism. Kamran somehow neither kills nor hurts anyone in the subway car with his spontaneous Nora emissions.
Oh my god! I had no idea!
Oh, kids! I mean, older siblings that insist on perpetuating the same relationship dynamic that existed when you were kids.
In classic con gossip train.
Whether it be gossip trains or just gossip in general, gossip is a sin. Although, does that mean I'm gossiping about how gossip is a sin? Did I just break the fourth sin wall in this video? Did Saved by the Bell the college years really only last one season? I need to know!
Speaker's just very convenient.
This old people use technology wrong bit that everyone here seems in on goes on long enough to wonder if even the characters in Marvel properties are feeling oversaturated with the ever-expanding amount of superhero content being made. So much so that they'd rather talk about use of cell phone habits instead of Kamala being a freaking superhero.
Bruno, please pick up.
Writers undermine all the urgency by having Kamala be pretty quickly distracted by this heart-to-heart suit reveal. This QR code started off as a fun little Easter egg in previous episodes, but now I'm beginning to worry that it's going to be spun off into its own series. Yeah, it's not like her best friend could be a burnt corpse at this point or need her help. Might as well have an unnecessary moment where she stops at a red light for comedic effect. Also, unless this is a low-key acknowledgement of Spider-Man, there's no other sky traffic she would need to stop for. And really no need to stop for Spider-Man either. You know, because of his tingle.
When the coast is clear, you guys head to the high school and I'll call Kamala.
Why would we go to the high school?
Because it's the only place guaranteed to be empty on a Saturday.
Unless there's a sporting event, Saturday detention, a local event being held at the high school, or the janitorial staff gets a lot of their work done on Saturday. But other than those things and probably 10 or 20 more, yeah, it could be empty.
Presumably male, 16 to 25, Pakistani or Arab.
But you're describing practically everyone here.
She is not.
I don't have time for chronic quotes. Excuse me.
Actually, that was Abraham Lincoln.
Boom! You've been Lincolned.
Trust me, you don't want a felony on your high school transcript.
It would be weird, yes, but you don't know that for sure. I wanted braces in high school till I actually had them. What can I say? Teens are weird.
Did you hear that? I'm her boyfriend. And you're both witnesses.
Why is Miguel? Did Nakia even need a person in the closet to keep this ruse going this long? This room might as well have been filled with Rashid's yummy chocolate chip cookies.
You need a disguise.
Okay, Marvel, you're very funny, and I must admit that I enjoyed this self-referential poke at how often your production team thinks a baseball cap would in any way be a sufficient disguise. But in this case, the joke here feels a bit like a hat on a hat.
What are you guys wearing?
What are you wearing?
The more important question is, how did Kamala know this is where she would find Bruno and Kamran? And if your answer is that Nakia had already called her, then I will ask you where on that costume Kamala's keeping a cell phone.
I feel like I'm being crushed from the inside out.
My screams from when I was trying to take a picture at my local theater in 2015 and the heavier-than-it-looked Pixar stand-up fell on top of me somehow make their way into this episode.
I really need to get him out of town.
I know someone who can get him out.
Well, that was so easily resolved that I'm a bit confused as why we're using up runtime on this call instead of putting it to good use with more glowy pad jumping.
They tried to trick me into giving you up.
Zoe Ex Machina's her way into the group for, reasons.
This is the plan.
Is the plan to dedicate a lot of time to detailed drawings that ultimately cut into what the show is trying to sell as a limited time to set up the plan? Because that's pretty much what's going on here, and the only reason it doesn't impact the show in any way has to do with the writers deciding that time has no meaning here.
How did you get in here?
Bathroom window. I went to school here too.
Because knowing how to open an unlocked window and crawl through it proves you were at this location on a daily basis for 4 years.
Superiors don't need chaperones.
Take it up with her.
Guys, clock's ticking.
I appreciate Kamran coming in to assist with this sin, but still, the show has time for this. If the drawing of your hoodie needs to also be labeled, then maybe just skip the drawings and go with a list. Also, you're in a defensive position and not actively targeting the DODC agents and feds. Well, At least most of you won't be. Just remember when they all get caught later that instead of making better preparations, our resident technical expert chose to f around with his skeleton. The thingy you're supposed to break the glass with is right there on the side of the box the entire time. I have no idea if this was supposed to be funny or just make me angry. Clarity on either side would have been fine.
You and Nakia grab as many balls as you can.
This sin is for the high school versions of you and me that are laughing exceedingly long at this statement.
And the real plan is Zoe.
Okay, so I guess using Zoe's social media presence in this plan does make all of the sense, but I'd also like to reaffirm that her conveniently being at the school so she could be part of this makes no sense.
So you mean to tell me you knew Kamala had powers and you didn't say anything?
Zoe may not have said anything, but she did force us to listen to everyone refer to Kamala as Nightlight for 6 episodes.
Do you even like British Bake Off?
No. No one genuinely likes British Bake Off, Amir, and I'm positive everyone in the YouTube comments will back me up on this. No! Not Zuzu! Not like this. As silly as the next 4 minutes of Home Alone-esque hijinks are, and the idea that all these highly trained damage control soldiers get outwitted by a bunch of kids and one random adult is a little insane, I gotta admit, it's also pretty fun to watch. With that being said, all of these highly trained damage control soldiers get outwitted by a bunch of kids and one random adult. My hands are tied, people. Go!
What, he can multiply now?
Multiple man shadowing?
Still with me?
Well, just excuse me while I skip along some glowing lily pads to get up and over this scene.
Hey! Ooh, guys, come dance with me. You know you like these moves.
Aside from Bruno's disturbing lack of rhythm, I don't recall this dance being a part of this well-illustrated plan. All it would have taken was one shot from one of these shockwave rifles to end this softball nonsense, but luckily the DODC trains their agents to blindly run around corners.
What happened to my mother?
Kamran figures out something's happened to his mother from nothing more than Kamala's desire to get help from the Red Daggers instead of Najma, and his amazing skills of intuition are never used again in this series. I guess this soldier must have attended school here as well, since he's familiar with the bathroom window entrance. I wonder if he was in the same class as Amir. Inside the school, the soldiers were firing at the kids just because they're running away from them. But outside, they just let Kamran get all juiced up without firing one shot. Kamran will now be a villain for the next 6 minutes, completely undermining the whole hat situation with him and Bruno earlier. That moment when all of the supporting characters try to make us believe that our hero might not win this one.
And begin. Deciding
to start giving your powers names in the middle of a fight. Between this and the commitment to only hand-drawn plans, I'm beginning to question Kamala's priorities. Kamala was either very certain all the agents would move out of the way at the last second, or she was very prepared to kill a bunch of people right here. Bringing a gun to a glowy light crystal with ill-defined powers fight. Everyone celebrates not being crushed to death by cheering, instead of leaving the area so as not to be almost crushed to death again. As much fun as the show can be, Deaver's a terrible and one-note villain. I don't even think Tyler Hayward would have just started opening fire at children, especially not with a viewing audience. Kamala's running crew survives this because the luck of not being killed instantly when the glowing rocks hit the van was only surpassed by the luck of these things deciding to suddenly start expanding at a much slower rate.
In her last moment, she said everything she had to protect you.
That's what happened? I'm glad they cleared it up for me, but this exposition would have been more helpful in the previous episode. It would have gotten us in there too, just for being exposition, but I would have appreciated it more.
Get to the harbor. I'll buy you time.
Did Kamala drop a detailed map of Jersey City's subsystems that I'm unaware of? How did she know what would be under the ground here, and why does she just assume that Kamran will know how to get to the harbor through this random hole she's created in the ground? And why is Kamran so confident in his ability to do this that he slides right down into the ground with no further questions?
Nita, are you okay? That was amazing.
I'm not sure Kamala needs this mask, since her parents are clearly going to do a job of keeping her identity secret.
Kapow!
Kapow. Kablam.
What'd you say? Najaf's heroes are the best in Jersey City.
Lying or shameless self-promotion. Take your pick.
I share the same name as Carol freaking Danvers.
I don't know who that is.
He doesn't? How's that even possible? Outside of the fact that she helped save the world, his daughter has images of Carol plastered all over a room. Yusuf has never once asked, hey, what's the name of that lady on your wall?
But you sure are, and always have been, our own little Miss Marvel.
Roll commercials is what we say here on TVSins, but I might have to start making an exception for Marvel and their penchant for surprisingly long credits on a TV show.
I, for one, think that it looks much better on the streets of Jersey City.
Thinking anything looks better in New Jersey.
Kamala, there's something different
in your genes, like a mutation.
Threatening us with X-Men content instead of just giving us a moment to be content with the story we just finished.
Whatever it is, it's just gonna be another label.
Marvel sounding completely uninterested in delivering the X-Men content it just threatened us with. Marvel forces Marvel's Captain Marvel into Marvel's Miss Marvel to prep for Marvel's The Marvels because Marvel!
You will step up here and show me your power. And yes, you will do so in front of the entire class.
I have an announcement to make.
All right, that's you for getting that
just
con monkey. What? Oh.
Santa! Oh my God! Santa here? I know him.
I just want to be sure that you're being careful out there. I mean,
Be their monument, be their angel, be anything they need you to be. Or be none of it. You don't owe this world a thing.
This feels a bit more like you, hmm?
No capes.
I feel like I'm being crushed from the inside out.
I can't believe you're making this about you.
We're with you.
I'm with you to the end of the line, pal.
Apparently there's such thing as bad press, and I don't like it. What is this?
There is no such thing as bad publicity, sweetheart.
She chose you.
You were the chosen one. It was said that you would destroy this Sith, not join them.